So the cliffhangers are going to be strong in this series after seeing this episode, because it left me on a cliffhanger that makes me just so mad right now. Because that was getting really good. The ending of this ended at a point where I was just like, oh my god, what's about to happen? And then the episode ends. Like, you see this dude, I think that's his name, he comes in through the freaking window and he's like, you really think that little petty blockade could have, kept you safe? All it's done is made it to where you could not escape. And I'm like, oh my god, the overall ending of that, man, just got my hype building up for this freaking series. And I just want to tell you something, the music, I am a big, big fan of the music of this episode. Oh, the music, man, it got my levels of hype just completely up when I was watching this episode. Migi states, like, it's fine if A cuts down everybody around Izumi. It's fine. They're all like a giant meat shield. And as, A's cutting these people down that, Izumi knows, you'll have Migi just go through the crowd and kill A. And I'm like, oh my god, that's brutal. But it makes a lot of sense, technically, what Migi says, and for, his entire, I guess, character personality. As we've seen from Migi, he doesn't care about anyone. He doesn't have any empathy for any creature besides his own life, and maybe somewhat for Izumi, since technically Izumi needs to live for him to survive. And so the big thing here is that you clearly just see an interesting personality in Migi. I love his personality. It's very cruel, but, you gotta admit, he makes a lot of sense. It was a very smart option for him to say, just wait here, we'll let A come in, kill all these people, and as he's killing them, we'll go in and kill, A, pretty much. Now, with this episode of Parasyte, I have a massive question. Now, I don't know if this is going to get answered next episode or not, but I have a question. I'm wondering something. Okay, as we know, these parasites, they have come in, and as you can see from the opening song, you see these little, embryos and stuff. You see how these parasites are coming in from space, like up in the atmosphere, if you watch the opening song. And we do know that these creatures are nowhere in, like, the known world. Like, nobody knows about these creatures. I'm curious, how do these creatures reproduce? That is the one question. As you always know, a parasite has to try to reproduce. Parasites need to figure out a way to reproduce and stuff like that to where they can continue to, live. Because in this episode, it is stated by the teacher parasite that goes to work at the school where Izumi is that she actually slept with another parasite, A, that's trying to kill Izumi in the ending of this episode, but she slept with this dude that also was a parasite. Both of their minds are taken over. But supposedly from what she said was, inside of her growing is a regular human baby, a normal human baby. So what that makes me think is like, okay, so if, the parasite is specifically stating that the baby is normal, then how do these parasites reproduce? Can the parasite actually change hosts? Like, if it's, like, pregnant or something, can it, like, implement, like, one of its parasites or something inside of the baby? I don't know. I don't know exactly how the reproduction actually works with this parasite, but that's one question you gotta think. That is the big question we have to wonder right now. How do more of these come about? Because there's a lot of them. They didn't just come out of fucking nowhere. So how do they get, made? Anyways, the episode, though, his entire personality, like, as we can see, he's just a very violent and brutal parasite. He doesn't give a shit about anything. All he cares about eating, satisfying his hunger, and killing people. And he has no problem with changing his face. As we can see, the parasites that have, taken over the brain, they could change the face of their person or host, and so they could be completely fine. They could just avoid cops like it's nothing. And that brings up a massive, massive plot point of this episode. Supposedly, as we know, Migi cannot change the face of Izumi. His face cannot be changed. And since technically Migi's in his hand, he has a parasite, but his face can't be changed. So if Migi was to ever be discovered by someone, like Murano, Izumi's, like, girl he kind of likes, let's say she tries to rat on him, technically Izumi would be forced to go on the run since he can't change his face. And so he's in a massive disadvantage at the moment. He can't just have a public fight with parasites when regular parasites possibly can. They can just go around killing anybody they want, and it's fine because they can just change their face afterwards. But Izumi is on a different scale. Like, for instance, he has to deal with these problems, and he has to figure out a way to kill these people that are coming after him without revealing his face. So that's the big issue that's brought up in this episode. But there's another thing you get from this episode that actually makes the overall aspect of the series a lot more intriguing. Migi brings up something very interesting. he states at the end of this episode, saying to Izumi, like, what do you think is going on right now? Like, what do you think A is currently thinking? And, you had Izumi bring up, like, we have two of us in our one body. We have two of us, two minds, pretty much, distinct of two different beings. And as we know, A doesn't think of it like that. He thinks of just Migi. He only thinks of the parasite Migi. He doesn't look at it as two different people with a level of intelligence. And so, two people are greater than one. We have heard this analogy a lot. And so, that is going to be A's downfall, since he's only looking at Migi as a target. He's looking at humans as if they're fucking fodder. And so, if Izumi can actually fight, and he can actually learn to fight pretty well, he can actually be stronger than most parasites, since you have two brains working together. Because Migi can be a fucking shield fighting like this, and you have Izumi coming in for the fucking stab. Or he can have a fucking gun. He can just be shooting a freaking gun. I mean, you gotta think about this. So, technically, yeah. Migi and, Izumi have a lot of strength. If they learn to work together and fight, that will definitely make their overall successful chance of survival higher. Now, the animation of this episode is really good. I love the animation, and it's the same as the first episode. Just looks really damn good. I haven't seen much animation derps at all through this series, so yeah, it looks good so far. And I'm just enjoying that opening song. I want to comment on that one more time. Oh my god, the opening song, it is by far one of the best opening songs from this anime season. I truly, truly love that song. And it is addicting. It is very, very addicting. Madhouse knows how to make some good opening songs. I mean, they know how to make the great animation with the opening songs and just make it look so badass. Seriously, it's hard to even skip over the opening. I haven't skipped over the opening yet since I've been watching Parasyte, because that's how good the opening song is. Overall, wonderful episode, and I wonder exactly what is going on between Izumi and, Migi. Actually, I want to bring this up one more time. Once again, Murano brings up the question, like, you seem rather different, Izumi. And pretty much, as we know, there's something going on here with Izumi's personality. His personality is definitely changing. I'm starting to notice it. It's been obvious since the first episode, really obvious in episode 2, but then in this episode, you're starting to see how his personality is switching. Like, he's saying things he really doesn't mean, like very violent things to people he doesn't want to hurt. And so, what is going on here? Why is his personality changing? Is it because of Migi attached to him? Is Migi affecting his brain? Either way, I want to end my thoughts here. Tell me your thoughts in the comments below. How'd you feel about this episode of Parasyte? All of you manga readers, let me know if this is being adapted properly. Tell me how it is. Are you happy? Let me know in the comments below. Love you all so much. You have a wonderful day or night wherever you live. Please be safe. Chibi out.